how did this happen? How did the game that caused such a seismic shift in the industry less than a year ago be hurting so bad today? Are we witnessing the decline of PUBG? Well, I doubt it, but let's try to talk about how this happened in the first place. Why is PUBG losing players? And is there any hope on the horizon? First, let's talk about existing players for a moment. The people that bought the game, enjoyed it for a time, and have since put it down. What is happening to them? Well, it just seems like many of them are fed up. Here we have a game that simply feels broken a lot of the time. Yes, the improvements are being made almost weekly, but PUBG is still trying hard to shake the image of it being an early access game with a lot of issues. There are certainly issues. I mean, anyone who's hit an invisible boulder while they're in their car can attest to that. But this speaks to a bigger problem, one that really wears down even the most dedicated of players. When you feel like your game is buggy, broken, or just plain finicky, it's hard to trust that your failures are your fault. When the guns feel weird to shoot and the guy you were shooting just swivels around and then headshots you while leaning, sometimes it feels like that wasn't your fault at all, this game is just weird. When players lose trust that the game is being accurate or fair with them, they lose interest in the game. PUBG is getting better all the time, but it's still dogged by this narrative about how it's buggy and broken, which in turn means that players both consciously and subconsciously lose faith in the systems they're in. What you'll notice here is that I'm barely even talking about the actual truth, and I'm more talking about perception, how players feel about it and perceive the game to be. This also dovetails nicely into another potential issue: content updates. This is a game that had one map for a very long time, two maps for almost as long, and has since just gotten its third about a week ago. There have been some new guns and some new vehicles, the occasional event or special mode, but for the most part, that's basically it. Now, it's very hard not to make comparisons to Fortnite, but side by side, it simply feels like Fortnite does more in terms of new content. Now, this isn't really even all that true. There's only like one map in that game, the guns and gadgets are added in kind of gradually, but because of the smarter way that Fortnite has been marketing themselves and announcing their events, to the layperson it just seems like Fortnite is having a new event every week. This, in turn, means PUBG players have fewer reasons to return. You know, they've played a lot and there doesn't seem to be much to bring them back. Again, most of this is just public perception rather than side-by-side facts, but that perception goes a long way. PUBG just has an image problem. Their own fans believe that the developers are more devoted to monetization than they are to fixing the game. Without actually traveling to the studio and seeing for yourself, it's hard to really know if any of that is true. But the fact is that this reputation has stuck, and it's not helping them at all. Suing your competitors only makes it look like your priorities are elsewhere, especially when you also start charging for your loot boxes too. Yes, I guess there is one area that has seen rapid growth, and that is the monetization of PUBG. Remember when we said that it has a bit of an image problem? Well, this doesn't just look bad from a greed point of view. Yes, it's pretty damning that they seem to have adopted a free-to-play model even though their game is not free-to-play, but it unfortunately gets worse, and this ties back into how hard it is to keep players coming back. All of the cool stuff is basically locked away. The free crates you earn in PUBG are sometimes locked, and when they're not, well, it's beige skins and crappy blue jeans for days, my friend. Even if you adopt the perspective where microtransactions are good, PUBG's system is still kinda bad, because there's nothing to really grind for. How do you feel like you're shooting for that special skin if everything you've unlocked is a pair of jeans? Good microtransaction systems, if you can believe in such a thing, allow you to plug away to your heart's content and then maybe alleviate that grind with a few real-world dollars. PUBG seems to try to skip to the real-world dollars right off the bat. And you know what? The new event pass for Sandhawk could have solved this, but nope, they charge you $10 for that too. So you have to pay to have the honor to grind XP for loot. It all seems kinda backwards. And most importantly, it's still not a good way to keep players actually, playing if they want the new stuff. Not to beat a dead horse here, but unfortunately PUBG's also got an uphill battle when it comes to getting new players as well. First, they have to be eligible, because you gotta own an Xbox One or a pretty good PC. Yeah, not just any PC. PUBG is notorious for taking high-end rigs and making them chug. So, assuming you can run the game, then you've gotta buy it, which is another major barrier of entry, especially when your competitor is free to play. Then, good luck learning. Sure, you can watch some YouTube tutorials, but PUBG is notoriously difficult to pick up if you don't have friends to help you. Tons of people bounce off the game because they spent 20 minutes running around only to be shot by some guy from 300 yards away. Plus, the hype has now died. People have moved on and they're talking about other stuff. Now, think about all the downsides I just listed off, all of those barriers of entry, and apply them to the main competitor, Fortnite. There's the problem. All you need is a phone to get going, no computer, no $30 entrance fee, and way fewer complicated systems, minus the building. Okay, so does that mean PUBG's actually dead? Is the decline inevitable? I don't actually think so. At least I hope not. PUBG is actually still the favorite amongst the MojoPlays staff, and it's a really great game at its core. Sandhawk is an amazing map that's reinvigorated our group with its faster matches, better loot, and abundance of firefights. This is exactly the sort of thing that can bring players back and keep them playing, event pass debacle aside. PUBG as a business seems to be acting like I did when I first started playing the actual game. I would grab what was close, then hunker down for as long as I could hold out. But death would always come, and it was always probably because I wasn't really prepared. Basically, PUBG as a business has to learn to stop camping, to stop sitting on what it has, and to move out and be more aggressive. They have to be more agile in the industry, have to try more strategies, and they have to tighten their fundamentals. Hey, everyone has more fun when you actually start moving.
Oh! Look at that shit. Textbook.
Thanks for watching MojoPlays. Be sure to subscribe and click on the link in the description below to check out our suggestion page and vote on what content you'd like to see us cover next.